yes, I do think that Africa has made some significant progress when it comes to inclusivity in the STEM field. Previously, we used to have a lot of male-dominated fields when it comes to the STEM sector, but luckily, over the past decade, there's been a huge stride when it comes to bridging that gap. In Kenya, personally, following the new constitution, there's been the whole two-thirds gender rule, which has bled into a lot of sectors in STEM, whereby many organizations are looking to have a proper gender balance. They're doing so by hiring more women, they're making sure they're giving more opportunities, and these opportunities have affirmative action programs, which they realize that equal opportunity is simply not a matter of fairness. It's very imperative for the survival of this planet and everything on it. A lot of organizations are actually ensuring that more women are hired when it comes to encouraging them, ensuring that they're given equal opportunities, if not more opportunities. And luckily, we're seeing a lot of wins when it comes to STEM sectors. There's a lot of evidence that shows an increase in participation by women usually improves the innovation performance of organizations and societies. So private sectors, it means more diversity, more profitability. Thank you so much.
When we say innovation in Africa is missing women's invaluable perspectives and also critical contributions, what exactly does that mean to you?
So there's a really huge distinction when it comes to lack of women's voices in the innovation sector. There are very few women in boardrooms and meetings where critical decision-making usually occurs. Women are often underlooked when it comes to contributions in various sectors, such as policy making. And it's not because the women do not want to lend their perspective. No, unfortunately, it's because they're simply locked out of these rooms. And the reasons usually is because of intersectionality of their marginalization, where they face multiple forms of marginalization, such as poverty. The men are usually the breadwinners, for example. Women are expected to take care of their family, and they're expected to lead certain things such as decision making and innovation to the men, unfortunately.
Now, you, of course, are a software engineer. You have a great experience in this topic. What, in your experience, are the biggest challenges that women still face, especially in your field?
So as much as we've looked at the great opportunities and the great strides that we've made here in Africa, unfortunately, the gender gap is still there. Personally, in most of the tech sectors that I work in, you'll find that most of the time, the men and women ratio is about 75% to 35 to 25%, meaning that there's still a huge gap when it comes to having women in the technology sector. And unfortunately, there's a glaring underrepresentation of women in STEM, even with all the strides that we've made. As we celebrate International Women's Day today, it's still important to note that, fewer than 30% of the researchers are women. And after they've already been hired, there's also a huge disparity when it comes to remuneration. Unfortunately, when it comes to salaries and remuneration, it's not a very public thing. So you may find out later on that the men are maybe paid more than the women. And there's not much that people can do about it simply because it's not an open discussion, unfortunately. We also have the lack of access to opportunities whereby women are overlooked or discriminated against. And even if they do make it to the big roles, sometimes they usually face a lot of safety issues such as gender-based violence, or they're being discriminated against. And unfortunately, even when it comes to making the huge career decisions to join the STEM fields, there's not many role models when it comes to women in STEM fields. Therefore, the young girls do not have encouragement when it comes to looking at idols or inspiration to other women. There's very few women in STEM, unfortunately.